This is Daniel Smith from Jets Guru. Welcome to the show. All gas, no brakes. Let's go, Jets. Woo!
I would never back down, y'all giving up, I would never tap out. Y'all capping, I would never cap out. Made it out the mud from the back of my dad's house. I was so selfish, living with a death wish. It was so tempting, ignoring my blessings. Always in bed, but never felt rested. Living so fast, could've died, I got arrested. Mine was a prison and I was a victim, but I was a villain, was losing my vision. I felt something missing with every decision. I think to myself I should be more forgiving. The devil was hitting, but I battled back. Before it was too late, I got back on track. Got used to depression and panic attacks, but I kept walking through hell and I never looked back. Won't ever back down again. Life's been throwing me challenges. I've been staying on track with it.
Let's make sure we play like the New York Jets.
We'll keep it going to the very end. When my life's put to the test, I will not accept second best. I will never back down, I will never.
What's going on, Jets Nation? CJ the Painkiller D-Bone here, and you are watching Jets Guru. Now, give it up for your host, Mr. Daniel Smith!
What is going on out there, guys? Thank you for tuning in. Like always, really appreciate all the support. Got the Gotham crew in the house too. Thank you, Claudio, for the gear. Really appreciate it. I mean, come on. Jets football right around the corner. I'm just finishing up here, sharing the last of the Jet fans that I want to reach. Remember, if you would like to help the Jets Guru out, be much appreciated, so I don't have to share in the middle of the show. So we're always looking for people to help out, but we are done, and thank you so much for tuning in. Like I said again, there's another season upon us. We're super excited. Out of all the off seasons over the last few years, and honestly, in my whole entire time being a Jets fan, I can't tell you probably a better off season than the one the Jets had. The declaration of Woody obviously being the biggest one, letting his football team know that the GM is going to be the one making the decisions. And I think it was the best thing that the Jets did. And honestly, where have you heard Woody and company and Chris? Where have you heard them? They've been gone. They've let the football people come in and speak, be the voice of the football team. And you just have to be excited about that real football people are running this team. Now, you got to go out there and put it together on the field. You can't just be paper champs. You can't be paper expectations. You got to go out there and get it done. But at the same time, you just have to really give a hand to the organization, one that gets pretty beat up for the most part in the news. And granted, some of it is owed to them for some of the decisions and some of the things that they've done over the last few years that have kept them out of the playoffs for almost 10 years now, actually 10 years now. And we're going to try to avoid that this year and next year and the year after, but it's going to be tough. I know the expectations are high for Zach Wilson and company, but you got to remember this team is starting the most amount of rookies in the league. This is something I think, guys, that we have to take into account. New playbook, new coaching, all this kind of stuff when we look through the schedule and when we go over the schedule and kind of pick our wins. But it's just so exciting. And for the most part, we got into camp injury free. Unfortunately, Lawson was the one that took the hit this year. And that sucks to really see because the guy was honestly getting ready to tear up the league, in my opinion. And I hope that he gets back and he's even, stronger and even faster than he was beforehand, and wishing him the best of recoveries because, this team definitely looks dramatically different without him. And, the face of the team has kind of changed a little bit since Lawson. When we talk about the New York Jets roster, a strength of the New York Jets roster, their defensive line has got, kind of taken out a little bit here on the ends. You have you have to go and make the trade for Shaq Lawson to fill in and get somebody on that first or second team, depending on how that worked out. Obviously, Shaq came late, but he could work his way into a position like that. But Bryce Huff is there. That's his to lose right now. And so, Vinny Curry's out, Carl Lawson's out, Kyle Phillips is out, and you start looking at the end position and you start going, but that wasn't the Jets' fault. It was a position of strength going into camp, going into preseason. And that's why the Jets went out and did a few things like get and keep receivers. Everyone said, and I remember because I can go back and detail how much animosity was pointed towards me when I said that the Jets should keep Jamison Crowder. And people said, well, why? Elijah's having such a great camp, but now he's holding out. Why don't we just get rid of him? And because of things like this, injuries, illnesses, and who better than the Jets? They dealt with a quarterback who had mono. I mean, like, who deals with that? I mean, talk about all of the hiccups that they had with the medical department over the course of Gase's tenure. And it's like, it's just weird. It's been a weird time to be a Jets fan the last few years. And I'm just excited that they got some of this right, and then you look at it, Keelan Cole, possibility to miss the game against the Panthers, Jamison Crowder dealing with issues, having to deal with COVID, Elijah Moore just coming back from injury. And you wonder why. Of course, the Jets right now have an opportunity with the bank that they had because of the last few years. Even Mac contributed to that and keeping contracts around that weren't really going to kill your team in the long run. And so when you could do that, you keep a guy like Jamison Crowder around because injuries are going to happen. Because if you're Joe Douglas, you just saw it. You just saw it happen. You just saw your team get decimated. You see your offensive line, you see your wide receivers, you see your quarterbacks get hurt, and you realize, you know what, I have to build the depth up. And when you look at the resume of Joe Douglas, you look at where he comes from with Baltimore, you look where he comes from for Philly. When Philly was doing well, they had good depth. When Baltimore, well, they always have good depth. They have, good scouting. And that's another thing that the Jets seem to be getting better at. And that's probably why they're starting so many rookies this year, is because their scouting department is doing a lot better than it did in previous years. And when you get all that football talent, football minds in the office there talking, and it's not so much back page news that dictates who you draft, and it's not some kind of animosity back and forth because the coach wants a certain player, but the GM wants no. Everybody is together on this venture here. And that's what happens when you pick your own guys. And so I am super excited to get this started. And I mean, listen, yeah, Mike, Mims might start, and I'm happy if he does start because it's an excellent opportunity for that man to go out and do some things. Every time I've seen Denzel Mims play football, he's looked good to me. People could say whatever they want about the playbook. They could say whatever they want about camp and being injured. But when he's healthy and he's playing, he's looked good to me. It's not my fault that Adam Gase doesn't know how to feature his young receivers better. And there's nothing you could do about the offensive line and the regression that Sam Darnold had last year. And that doesn't, to me, affect Denzel Mims' performance. Every time they threw him the ball, I thought he had good body positioning, good hands. He's the type of guy that makes catches where he boxes people out and he puts himself in a position where he goes up and gets the football as well. He's not a small dude. He's not a big guy, but he's not a small dude. And he's deceptively fast too once he gets going, Denzel Mims as well. So, this is what the Jets prepared for. They prepared for guys to miss time. This is why they kept their wide receiving group, deep, is for things just like this. And I'm happy that they did. I'm happy that they kept Jameson around 100%. I'm happy that Josh Adams made this team, guys. It's a long time coming for him. And, he hasn't gotten a lot of fair shakes. I mean, let's just be honest here. Adams, every time it seems like he plays, he looks pretty good, but it's never followed up with any consistency. And we talked about that ad nauseum last year with Adam Gase, and that, if I believe, him and Ty Johnson went off for that 200-yard game, and they were rewarded with nothing. Frank Gore got most of the carries in the follow-up game. That's not how you reward your football team. I don't think you're going to see too much of that with this team. I think the hot hand's going to probably get a few more footballs. I expect guys like Corey Davis and third down for Zach Wilson to look for him. And I don't know. Well, we're going to have to feel out Elijah Moore, Matthias, and really see. And honestly, this episode, I want it to be more about the questions that you guys have too as well. because the season's going to get started. So it's going to be a lot of analysis from what I see. And, so I want you guys to tell me, any questions you guys have, you let me know as I'm talking and I'll try to get to them. But this is a very important game for Zach Wilson and Sam Darnold. They could say that it's not a big important game. It absolutely is a big important game. Um, it's an important game for Sam Darnold to say, hey, listen, he's already came out and said, I envision myself being a Jet. And I think every franchise quarterback does that. You're a young kid that gets drafted. Everything's given to these guys because of their hard work and their talent, obviously, too. But a lot is given to these guys, and all of a sudden they get to the pros and they hit that bump. And it's like, here's that first time in your adult life that you're going to get hit with it, and let's see how you respond. And I think a lot of people want to see how he looks coming off of, to me, a disastrous season for him. And it wasn't all Adam Gase for Sam Darnold. It was a lot of mechanic breakdown, and a lot of it had to do with the offensive line, the lack of talent, and it also had a lot to do with Sam not, to me, playing up to his potential. I honestly should see a Sam Darnold with the Panthers that's a little bit more athletic, that can move around in the pocket a little bit better, and he should be able to take those yards when they're in front of him. Something I did see from Sam Darnold so far in the preseason that kind of showed me a little more of the same was the last preseason game where he played very well for his standards, but it's something that I've seen a lot with him when he was with the Jets. And it's just little tiny throws here and there, little 3-yard outs that get turned into bigger gains, little 6-yard passes that get turned into bigger gains, throwing 25 passes and having 125 yards, that kind of stuff, finishing a game with under 200 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. In 1993, if Glenn Foley, or around that time, if Glenn Foley had, 2 touchdowns and 200 yards and a fill-in game, excited. Not for your franchise quarterback that you pick number 3 in a passing league that everything is dictated towards the passing game. I mean, for crying out loud, at least put the ball up in the air. The penalty flags are thrown constantly. And I think what you're going to see this year is Zach is going to take chances. And this is the year that he should be taking chances in his first year with no expectations. Remember in camp, remember what Zach Wilson said. He said that, I try some throws to see what I cannot get away with. Expect him to do that during the season too, especially when the pressure is pushed on. And that's what I'm looking for Sam Darnold too. When the pressure's put on, do you fall back into your old mechanics? Because how much could you really do in one off season to fix everything that really has been a habit for you for about almost 2 seasons now? Maybe a lot. Maybe Matt Rule's a better coach than what we think. Maybe Sam Darnold's a better player than what we think. But at the same time, it's probably going to take Sam a little time, just like it's going to take Zach a little time to get acclimated. Yet again, another new playbook for Sam Darnold. That's not easy. It is comforting that he has someone like Robbie, but trust me, Salah's going to know that, and he's going to look for that. And for me, you have to, if I'm Sam Darnold, you have to show defenses something a little different than you're used to showing them. And that's when it's going to come into the athletic ability, which I think Sam is less athletic than Zach, but he does have the ability to be able to get 40, 50 yards a game. I could see Tannehill, when all those little bootlegs he used to run on the Jets a few years ago with Miami, Sam's more athletic than that. He could pull that off if done correctly. And it's going to be very important for Sam to be on the money, because if he's not, you already know teams are going to key in on Christian McCaffrey and trying to slow him down. And he's going to have to protect McCaffrey as well. He's going to have to put the ball and push the ball down the field, or they're going to key in. And I expect the Jets to go after Sam Darnold early to really test him and see where he's at. For sure, 100%. And I expect Matt Rule and the Carolina Panthers to do the same with the rookie. I see a lot of mistakes in this game, to be honest with you. I don't think Zach got a ton of work. Sam didn't get a ton of work. It's hard to really get a ton of work against the number ones for any consistent period of time. So to me, I think it's going to be a slow half starting out. The fact that the Panthers are 5.5 point favorites, I think is laughable to me. Now they might go out there and kill the Jets, but I think it's laughable. I mean, this is the guy who's quarterbacking this team is the same guy who said that he was awful last year. Everyone, oh, Darnold's awful, he's awful, this, that, and the third. Well, what makes you think that him going to the Panthers all of a sudden is going to make him that much better? Well, they do have Christian McCaffrey, true. They do have Robbie Anderson, true. And they had both of those guys last year, and they still didn't do anything. And to me, Teddy Bridgewater is a more accurate quarterback, a more polished quarterback than what Sam Darnold is right now. So there's a lot. There's a lot of question marks up in the air and what Sam Darnold's actually going to be in this league. Now, there's one thing I want to say too, is as far as Sam Darnold, there's a difference between um, talking about a guy's statistics and saying what kind of person he is. Anytime we've ever talking about Sam Darnold, it's been based off of his play. He seems like a good person for everything that he is. I mean, I don't know him very well at all, but for what I've seen of him, he seems like a good kid. So I can't say anything badly about him in that way. He is a mediocre quarterback for what the NFL is in today's game. I would rather have Sam Darnold than Mark Sanchez in those AFC Championship games. I truly believe that. I think we probably would have went a lot further with Sam Darnold than Mark Sanchez. But honestly, in this day and age, you look at some of the big games in this league, you look at most of the big winners in this league now, it's guys that can make those big time throws. It's guys that can, hit guys and stay poised and make big time throws. And right now, Sam's not that guy. And you listen to Saleh and you listen to Joe Douglas and what they said. And even Saleh just said it. He said, listen, I admit it. He's like, we were going to take the young guy no matter what. Like, they were just seeing what they can get for Darnold. They weren't sure exactly what it was going to be. But if it wasn't something that they liked, they were still going to take Zach Wilson, or let's say Zach got taken first. It was going to be Trevor Lawrence. They were taking a guy regardless, from what Saleh actually said. And so, he's got a lot to prove, Sam Darnold. And for Zach, he's just got to keep doing what he's been doing. And that's staying consistent, making sure you hit your check downs, you go through your progressions. He looks pretty smooth in doing so. And the one thing I tell people all the time is when you have really good arm talent, and I would say that Zach Wilson has above average arm talent, you can take a little bit more time in figuring out what you want to do. One, because his mechanics are clean. Two, because he's quick with his mechanics. And three, because he has the talent. So when you combine all those things together, it doesn't seem like a lot, but it buys you just a little bit more time that you may need to make a decision. And when you look at Zach, look at his body when he throws the football. And if you could bring that again, if you could bring that throwback for me, JR, you look at the top half of Zach Wilson's body. He wastes no time with his movement. There is no full rotation and looking lost. It's a quick little shoulder shift back and forth, and the head and the shoulders move in unison together. He's really good with his mechanics, guys, and it looks clean. Now, I know he's going to be under duress this year. It's going to happen, but I expect this Jets offensive line to be a lot better, and you can already see that they do look a lot better. But Zach doesn't waste any time, and he has the arm talent, so he can really kind of do what he wants on the football field. It's all up to the Jets to protect him and put the talent around this kid. I truly believe that he is going to be the rookie of the year, or if not, at least in the top three. I really, truly believe that. They have him in a lot of charts ranked at the bottom, and the Jets ranked at the bottom, and that's okay. We may be ranked at the bottom with wins and losses, but I think coming out of the season, I truly, truly believe that Zach Wilson is going to be the guy where people say, wow, this, got to look out for this AFC East. It's on fire. When I've seen so many Jets quarterback play, and he impresses me the most so far out of all the young quarterbacks that the Jets have had in uniform. I know he hasn't played in the season yet, but I'm just saying for what we've seen now, right? I'm not saying, of all time or anything, just for what we've seen up until this moment. I truly believe he's one of the best I've ever seen in a Jets uniform to start out, just to start out. Like wow, he just looks really clean out there throwing the football. You could see the kid's talent. And so I want to just see him put it all together and be complete. A lot of the other quarterbacks that have came in, I've seen the style of play, and that's not going to work in the NFL. That's not going to work in the NFL. When Sam Darnold played, when I first saw him, I was really excited about his ability to roll out of the pocket and throw the football. The problem is they didn't really enhance that, or they didn't really key in on that, and boost that as part of his game. And as time went on, I felt like he just wasn't as crisp rolling out. Now, Sam, he would definitely do well every once in a while on a broken down play, but you can't live on those. You got to be crisp with your mechanics when you're rolling out. And he had that, I think, when he first came out. It's a sin that Sam Darnold had to deal with that type of offense, in my opinion. Jeremy Bates and all that garbage is just not really something that I'm excited about. And when you look at this game, I think it's interesting. You look at all these expert picks, right? What do you see mostly from most of these close games, right? 1 point game, 2 point games, 3 point games, 7 point games, like all within that range, all in the 20s there too, which is a good sign. So that means that a lot of people believe that the Jets offense is going to be able to put up some points. So I'm excited about that. The one thing, obviously, there's a little disrespect there for sure, with that the 30 points, the 24 and all that. But there's a lot of young corners on this team, guys. I mean, I think that's one of the things that we should discuss really quickly as well. Is when you look at the cornerback position for the Jets. I mean, Brandon Eccles, congratulations. Bryce Hall, congratulations. Javelin Guidry, Jason Pinnock, all these guys that made the team, young guys. They're green, man. They're young. So Salah's putting a lot of trust in these young guys to go out there and get the job done. You gotta, I like it. I mean, I like that the coach for the football team thinks that these guys are good enough to play. If they weren't, they wouldn't be there. I really truly believe that. I think Salah would have went out. Joe Douglas had no problem getting a tackle, had no problem restructuring contracts, had no problem going out and getting guys where you're like, oh, well, they already have depth there. It doesn't matter. So I really don't think it was that. I really think that when you have a season like this, when coming off of 2 wins and a rookie quarterback, it's invaluable because you can't give that back. You can't get that again. It's like once he's a rookie, now everyone is like, well, we should see this and that. And you know how the media is and everything. It's like, realistically, a guy could take 3 to 4 years to develop, but there's no time for that anymore. So the rookie year is like the only one that even the quick naysayers give quarterbacks at least a year. So this is the time to find out what you got. And you gave him all sorts of options, different types of receivers. You look at how the Jets structured their wide receivers group. You look at how they have Denzel Mims and Corey Davis, more bigger guys. And then you got guys like Elijah Moore and Crowder who can kind of cut you up. You got the tight ends, a couple tight ends that I like, and Croft. And, I really wanted Yabo to make the team, but, keep working and you'll get there. But anyways, I like the host of running backs. If you want to run screen games, play action, it's really hard to determine what you want to do because they can all do a little bit of everything, but they're all different in the way they run the football. Super exciting, right? So I'm just like all over the place because I've been waiting for such a long time for the Jets to play football and, to show the world that this team is a way more put together organization. But, we'll see what happens. Looking at the linebacker position for the Jets is also another surprise to where you have more rookies with Hamza Nasruddin and Jamie Sherwood. These converted safeties, right? Here's the thing: you draft these guys, right? Use them. I mean, you got second, third, fourth, fifth round picks. Use the guys. I mean, if they're just going to sit on the bench or be used for trade pieces or get cut, then why are you drafting them, right? And what better year to test out your converted safeties to outside linebackers than this year when you need that position? And so if something happens and they don't play well and you feel like you need to go with more of a veteran presence because this is a young team, then you can go ahead and bring in like one guy and then those two can compete and rotate for one spot. That's something that you could do. It's the same thing with the cornerback situation. Like, let's say Bryce Hall and Eccles and all these guys, they kind of don't, they're all right, but they're not really what you need to be to take the next step. Well, you bring in one legit guy and you let the other guys fight for the second spot, so there's a little bit more protection, and then you let the other guys fill out the depth, but you need to know what's there because how do you know, right? Until you play him. Like, what if you come out here and you're like, whoa, Nazoldine and Sherwood look like these new hybrid, outside linebackers that, Salah's trying to push. Maybe he's doing something new out here, and they give us a whole new dynamic as a football team, and it really helps. And then you're like, now I don't need outside linebackers. And then, maybe you think about retaining Mosley, if he has a good season, he lost all that weight. I mean, he looks like a safety himself. And you're going to be getting a few guys back here pretty soon off of the defensive line. You'll have Carl Lawson back, Kyle Phillips will be back. Vinny Curry is a whole nother situation for the New York Jets. Quinnen Williams is back. I mean, that's really exciting for the New York Jets. We haven't had a chance to see him really here. So it's good to have him like healthy and ready to go. I mean, when you look at the interior of this defensive line, Quinnen Williams, Folorenzo Fatukasi, Sheldon Rankins. I mean, that's a pretty good inside. I mean, like if they try to run with the Jets on the inside, they're going to be met with some force for sure. It's not going to be as easy for teams to run on us. I know it looked a little bit bad during the preseason, and it might take a couple weeks to see a gel guys, but I'm telling you, those are good guys if they stay healthy. And on the outside here, you got guys like Bryce Huff and Franklin Myers. You check this out, man. You can look up some stats, right? You can get in there and look up some different things. But Franklin Myers was one of the best defensive ends last season towards the stretch when he was playing. Like he did some really good things. And then Bryce Huff, and I spoke about Bryce Huff before, chip on his shoulder. And this is a guy who, let me tell you something. When he rushes, right? When he rushes, his momentum doesn't get stopped. Like I've seen so many plays where Bryce Huff is like pushed down, like on the ground almost, but he keeps moving forward. He just has that instinct, just like Lawson does. Lawson's, more of a freakish athlete. But Bryce Huff, I'm telling you, do not sleep on him this year. I'm really telling you, do not do it. Do not sleep on this man this year. And another guy I'm really happy about is Blake Cashman. I'm glad he's healthy. I want to see him stay healthy the whole year. The guy has the physical tools. He wouldn't be a rotational piece here the way he is through a whole new regime if he wasn't, especially, when that guy didn't draft you, but he's good. He's got the talent. He just has to stay healthy. So I'm super excited about him being a part of the team. As you know, he's got family that watches Jets Guru, and so we're going to support him all the way. I hope he has a really good season. But, you look at here, you look at safety, free safety. You got Zane Lewis, Ashton Davis, Shad Nassim, Shaquan Hampton, all these guys banged up, injured out, injured reserve. Corey Ballantyne, injured reserve. Jared Davis, injured reserve. Lawson, injured reserve. Kyle, injured reserve. Keelan Cole, selecting bowl. So the Jets offense looks a lot better, with Parkin Ferguson, Cameron Clark, Tate and Salts. These guys are the guys that are hurt on the offense. The offense looks a lot more healthier. Tevin Coleman, Ty Johnson, Michael Carter, all healthy guys. Josh Adams probably taking over there for Michael Perrine. Corey Davis, Elijah Moore, Denzel Mims will probably be your guys starting this Sunday. Tyler Croft, Ryan Griffin. Ryan Griffin's healthy again. Don't sleep on him too, making another comeback there. He hasn't really been healthy. Mekhi Becton, Vera Tucker, McGovern, Van Rotten, Fant. What I tell you about Fant? What did I tell you? What did I tell you, people? Fant fits this offense perfectly because he's athletic, and they need athletic guys on this line with what they need to do. And then you got Moses as a backup. Depth, and super excited. But I told you about those guys, not to sleep on them, right? So, the way I look at this team, there's a lot of talent, young talent offensively. It's going to take a few weeks to gel, as you see, as we just went over it. I mean, there is talent there on both sides of the football, and there's a lot of potential unlocked talent here because you don't know who these like who is Nasruddin yet? Who's Sherwood? Who's Eccles? You know, who's Bryce Huff? Who's Franklin Myers? Who's Oliver Tucker? Who is Elijah Moore? Who is Michael Carter? Who is Zach Wilson? Who are these guys? Who are they going to be to this team? How much are they going to add to this team? So if you like what you see right now, just wait to see who these guys are going to be because you could be in for a big surprise. You could be in for some heartache as well. As Jet fans, we've seen that. But we're more than prepared. Man, you can't get worse than a 10-year stretch, no playoffs, Adam Gase. You can't get worse than that, okay? You could survive that. Plus, if you grew up in the 90s at all and you were a Jet fan and you grew up in that heartache as well, and then what was it too? The 70s too for the Jet fans too for a lot of that. What else? Some of the 80s too. So I mean, pretty much the whole thing until Parcells came over and gave it a little bit of a facelift, and it felt like we were in the playoffs at least once every couple of years until we just went through this last rough stretch. But I think better times are coming. So let's get to predicting the schedule a little bit. So okay, so you got me at the top. So I'm just gonna follow how you have it here. So we got Carolina at 1. Okay, so I'm gonna have the Jets beating Carolina. There ain't no way, man. There ain't no way. There ain't no way. There ain't no way, man. There ain't no way that Sam Darnold is gonna beat the New York Jets. There ain't no way. There ain't no way, man. It's not happening, right? So the Jets are taking the first victory, going to get people super excited, right? And then we got New England, the second game. And you know what? I'm going to say it right here. I'm going to say it right here because I don't care. They don't want no part of us that second game at home. And you're talking about real crowd, Mac Jones. Okay, let's go, man. The Jets are going 2-0 to start the season, okay? So then we go to Denver, all right? And this is a tough one, right? I'm gonna have the Jets actually losing to Denver. They just get knocked down just a tad, just a wee bit there. So I'll have them losing to Denver. So I think I have the Jets there at 2-1, and then we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna play Tennessee. And that's going to be a real tester. That's Sunday, October 3rd. They could really run the football. And so that's going to be a really a big test for our defensive line right there. Because I think, honestly, this is going to be the roughest test until we face Buffalo in mid-November. And so this is a good testing point. So if the Jets are like 2-1 by the time they play Tennessee, this is like a good starting point. 4 weeks into the season, usually it takes a couple weeks for the offense to get into sync and for guys to get into sync. So I'm super excited about that. Yeah, and that's at Denver, George. That's at Denver as well. And so, listen, Zach is from out there as well. I think he's Utah, so a little different, but still, I don't think the West Coast thing is going to hurt them as bad. I just, I don't know. It's a 2-win team. It's hard to see them coming out and getting 3 wins off the gate, just bringing everything together. I could see them flying over there and taking an L, coming in, playing Tennessee, losing to Tennessee, getting to 2-2. And then they play Atlanta overseas. I have the Jets actually beating Atlanta, getting to 3-2 before the bye week. Everybody's super excited. Then the Jets go to New England. They lose. They split with New England, get to 3-3. That's October 24th. And then I think all is right when we play against Cincinnati. I think we beat Cincinnati on Halloween. That's Halloween at 1. So I have the Jets right there at 4-3. I think they lose to Indianapolis to get to 4-4 and lose to Buffalo to get to 4-5. And then I also have us losing to Miami to put us at 4-6. And I know you guys are probably going crazy because I can't see the comments right now. But there is going to probably be a losing streak or two in this season, guys. Come on, we got to be realistic here. At least until we see this team play. Maybe the Jets come out and they're like 4-0, and you're like, oh, maybe they're like the new team, because there's always like one or two teams in each conference. It seems like there's a new playoff team every year. So maybe that's the Jets, but I have them going through a stretch right here that's not good for them. So, but it's all right because they get back on track. So they're 4-6 playing Houston, who I think is going to be just really bad at that point. So I have the Jets getting to 5-6. I think they play Philly, and I think the Jets actually beat Philly to get to 6-6. And this is where Jet fans start to get really excited because they're 6-6. You got that extra playoff spot. You're getting ready to play New Orleans, which honestly, I'm sorry, guys, I'm picking New Orleans here. I know Drew Brees is gone, but I really do think Jameis Winston's a solid quarterback, and I think he's going to learn some. He's learned some new things over the last few seasons. I think that team is going to beat us. I think we also lose to Miami right there, which is really tough. I think Miami actually sweeps us this year. To be honest, I hate to say it, but I think it happens. And so then they go into Jacksonville, 6-8 against Jacksonville. I think they beat Jacksonville to get the seventh win right there this season to get to 7-8. And although I think they might have a chance, I really do. I think Tampa and Buffalo to end the season is probably too rough for the Jets, and they wind up taking the loss here, and they finish with 7 wins to end the season, going 7-10. So it's one of those things where that would be a fantastic season for the Jets. And there might be some surprises in there too, as well. I mean, when you look at how the whole schedule is broken down, um, I mean, definitely you could see that happening. You know, you could see them definitely splitting with Miami. You could definitely see them beating New Orleans. You could definitely see them beating in Indianapolis. You could definitely see them beating in Denver. But you can also see them losing to Atlanta. And I can definitely see them losing to the Bengals and Joe Burrows and a host of receivers. And I could definitely see them losing to Philadelphia still. So, there's going to be some surprise wins, some surprise losses, and hopefully everyone stays healthy. But I think ultimately, when you look at this, the Jets wind up winning 7 games this year as an overall until I get to see them play. So that's my preseason, like my pre-play prediction. I'll probably do another prediction once we get to week 4 and kind of lay it out how the rest of the season is going to go. But I really appreciate you guys joining me. I'm not going to keep too much more of your time because I know that the game is about to start, and that's why we did this early so we can get you guys all in here. And so please do me a favor and share. This is a huge year for Jets Guru. We really want to take it to the next level and keep pushing these numbers up. And so we can use all the shares, all the subscriptions. If you go on YouTube, type in Jets Guru. Also on Instagram, Jets Guru. On Twitter, it's at Guru Jets. And please check out our radio show, which we have an episode right now up with Kevin on your way to work tomorrow to end your week. We broke down the game. We gave our predictions. It's like an hour episode, me and Kevin. Anywhere you listen to podcasts, Spotify, Google, just anywhere you have Apple, we're all on there. Just type in Jets Guru. Once again, give a shout out to Gotham City Crew, who does an amazing event at the stadium. And I'm glad that, people are getting back to the games so that they're at least for a little bit of time so you can get some of those events and that they put together. And they also have some sick merchandise. So really appreciate that. This is going to be my official Jets hat for the season that I'm going to be rocking. So I really appreciate that. And get that 5.5 points off of my screen, man. I'm tired of seeing that 5.5 points. I could see maybe because the Panthers are at home, giving the Panthers 3 points, 5.5 points. Bro, the Jets are about to smash that. I'll tell you that right now. That's what's about to happen. So, you know what's cool too, guys? I get to put my Jets Guru bets in too because I'm going to Jersey to watch the game with my friends. And so maybe I'll be a rich guru next time you see me. But listen, I love you guys so much. Let's kick off this season. Let's all close our eyes and say a quick prayer, right? Whether you believe or you don't, we're going to say a quick prayer for the New York Jets. Dear Heavenly Father, please bless these New York Jets. Keep them healthy and let Zach Wilson be Rookie of the Year. Amen. Right? So we these are the things that we have to do. It sounds weird. It's a little superstitious, But this is my first piece of memorabilia that is going to be added. I used to have all this Jet stuff that I used to wear all over me during the games, right? I was loaded up, and those were my relics, I would call them, and they were all juiced up from exciting Jets moments, and I would use them in special games to block field goals like a crazy person. I know that we're all there because we love the Jets and we do stupid stuff like that, especially after a couple of beers, right? And after that Buffalo game where we missed the playoffs in the last game of the season, I was devastated. Ryan Fitzpatrick took all of the magic, all of the Mark Sanchez and the AFC Championship game and all those games and all that fun stuff, like the deep throw to San Antonio against the Texans and all that stuff, all the missed field goals, all that stuff that I had juiced up in the helmets and the jerseys and the shirts and all that were ruined because Fitzpatrick somehow ripped the magic out of the Jets, even though Buffalo was trying to give us the playoffs. And after that, I had to give it all away. So officially, the first piece, the first relic to the Daniel Smith collection will be this hat. This hat will be with me even when it's tattered and it looks like crap because it'll be a relic juiced up. And so the Jets are rebuilding. I'm rebuilding. We're rebuilding. And I absolutely love chatting and looking to your comments and talking with you guys throughout the week. Let's get this, man. This is so exciting. Sunday. So enjoy tonight's football game. Have a great night. Be safe at the games, please. If you need, a driver, call a Lyft or an Uber. We live in a technological time here. There's no excuses anymore. You can leave your car somewhere overnight or have a friend or take an Uber. It's not worth your life. So you guys going to any games this weekend, please take care of yourself. I know we haven't been to many events in a long time, and people tend to overdo it when that happens. And so please, I don't want to hear any bad stories on the news about Jet fans. And so take care of yourself, be safe, enjoy the games, and love you guys. Much love. Jets, Jets.
All I hear, go get the money. So I go get it. Hate means I do something right. So I'ma let 'em.